Indonesia, with its 17,500 tropical islands, is a scuba diver's paradise. Until recently, much of Indonesia was inaccessible, but now many new dive locations are becoming popular. Raja Ampat, a group of islands off the northwest coast of Western Papua, formerly Irian Jaya, can now be reached by 2 flights from Singapore. Raja Ampat is best dived on a Liveaboard dive boat. The Raja Ampat Explorer, a modified Indonesian Bugis boat with comfortable cabins and a well-planned dive deck. These wooden schooners are stable, quiet and spacious. While they can sail, the crew rarely go to the trouble of unfurling the sails, preferring to motor around the complex passages and currents. Raja Ampat, which means 4 kings, comprises over 1,500 islands, geologically speaking, the northernmost land in the Australian continent landmass. You know you're in for an interesting trip when 3 minutes after entering the water, you find a weird but beautiful creature like the electric clam. The pulses of light are astounding. A few minutes later, a pair of pretty goby fish share a burrow, one of them more brave than the other. With its bright, contrasting colours, this Chromadorus nudibranch advertises to any potential predator that it is inedible, full of poison that it collects through grazing certain algae. More weirdness. On the first night dive at Raja Ampat, a pair of tropical sea spider crabs crawl around on a Gorgonian fan. They're a strange variant of the crab family. For camouflage, they adhere other marine life to their legs and body. Early in the morning, the divers experience one of the sights, blue magic, that made Raja Ampat famous. Along a long reef wall, fed by upwelling currents from the Dampier Straits, fish life abounds. Batfish, barracuda, jacks, trevally, tuna. This is what all coral reefs would look like if we did not overfish the oceans. Morning is an exciting time on the coral reef. Many predators are still hunting, creating a tense, nervous atmosphere, especially amongst the prey species. The corals of Raja Ampat are in excellent condition, like these large leather corals, quite unusual. Large schools of prey fish huddle together for protection. A place called The Passage makes for a fascinating dive. A narrow gap between 2 large islands, the currents funnel through, feeding lots of marine life. Strange to have corals and ocean fish within a couple of meters of thick rainforest. Saltwater crocodiles inhabit this channel. This large yellow and black Dolabella nudibranch, part of the sea hare family, crawls across encrusting sponges. These ascidians are probably the most primitive backbone creature, a very, very distant relative of the human race. They start life looking like a larval fish. Water, flowing through their 2 openings, carries small nutrients to their stomach. They even have a tiny beating heart pumping blood. A beaked butterfly fish. In a cave on the side of the passage, Thousands of brown hatchetfish bring to mind a cave full of bats. Cardinal fish swim just below the surface. Looking up through a hole in the cave roof, the jungle trees block most of the sky. Batu Lima and the other dive sites around the Mansua area display some magnificent fan corals feeding off the strong currents. Small glassfish live nervously alongside a coral trout, who probably snaps up a few every time he feels hungry. Some huge fan corals live in a shallow cave system. Normally these types of corals live in much deeper water. Sunrise is a beautiful time on the open ocean, even on a cloudy day. A Papuan fisherman in a canoe exploits the early morning feed time. Behind the massive garupa is an even bigger Napoleon wrasse. The largest fish in the wrasse family, this one is over 1 meter long, an unusual sight as they've been heavily fished in most tropical seas. A wahoo, part of the tuna family, fast swimming predator. One marine biologist, Dr. Gerald Allen, counted over 280 fish species on a single dive in Raja Ampat. There are at least 20 species in this single video clip. Barracuda. Yellow, blue-line snapper add a splash of colour to the fish population. Sharks are much more common in this remote region, away from the shark finning boats. White-tip and black-tip reef sharks are a common sight, although easily frightened away by the divers' bubbles. Harlequin sweetlips hover over the coral, waiting for the tiny blue cleaner wrasse to manicure their skin. Oriental sweetlips school closely together for safety. With little fishing pressure, black-tip reef sharks grow to be a good size in Raja Ampat. Sunset is a magic time in the islands, and the Indonesian dive boat makes for a lovely silhouette against a darkening sky, a portend that another night dive is about to start. These 5 rare apricot pink nudibranchs climbing on coral branches make an interesting start to the night dive. Box pufferfish are usually bright yellow during the day, but change to a more unobtrusive brown colour to hide in the coral during the dangers of the night. A member of the scorpion fish family, this huge crocodile fish lies camouflaged in the sand. One of the unusual, rare and somewhat bizarre wonders of Raja Ampat is the Raja Ampat walking shark. Somewhere back on the evolution tree, this distant cousin of the pelagic sharks decided to give up swimming. As it hides during the day and eats buried seashells at night, walking on 4 fins is its chosen method for movement. This shark species is unique to this area and was only discovered in 2006. Another early morning dive in a different location, but with the same multitudes of fish. The oriental sweetlips huddle together during the big predator's eating time. On the sandy bottom of a narrow gully, a large single polyp anemone stings and catches passing marine life, passing it down to its stomach. Living in a symbiotic relationship with the anemone is a group of commensal shrimps. Sometimes known as glass shrimps, much of their body is transparent. They help the anemone by keeping it clean, in return for protection from predators. But the real purpose for diving in this location is the coral bommy cleaning stations which attract the big manta rays. The manta ray hovers slowly over the coral bommy while the small fish swim up to eat parasites from their skin. This large male, with a wingspan of over 2 meters, uses its cephalic lobes to direct plankton into its wide mouth. When moving quickly over distance, it rolls the cephalic lobes into a streamlined tube. Raja Ampat corals display some deep, rich colors, but being underwater, they need artificial light to make them bright and visible. A white-tipped tail fin sticking out from a small cave indicates a large creature is resting inside. A 2-meter nurse shark has chosen this cave as its daytime resting place. Constant movement of its mouth is required to pump oxygen-bearing water through its gills. This moving bush is not a plant. A member of the sea star family, sea baskets come out at night to catch plankton in their complexly branched arms, but hide in crevices during daylight. Humphead parrotfish sleep in small caves and crevices with their eyes open. Sharp, fused teeth bite off chunks of hard coral to extract the creatures inside. Moray eels, with their razor-sharp teeth, look more dangerous than they really are. Thecacera picta, or more commonly known as Pikachu nudibranch, is a member of the sea slug family. Nudibranchs are hermaphroditic, and thus each animal has a set of reproductive organs for both sexes. Here, a pair slowly move together for a mutual cross-mating. A giant pufferfish with a huge distended belly rests in a cave. The Fam Islands are remote and largely uninhabited. Strange limestone structures occupy the emerald green lagoons. On this fan coral lives the tiniest member of the seahorse family. Almost too small to see with the unaided eye, only the magnification of the lens makes its tiny features visible. Another colourful nudibranch, Chromadorus willani, is identified by the white specks on its naked gills and sensor horns. Damselfish and other small tropical fish hover and feed over a hard coral, always ready to dart into the coral if danger threatens. At a dive site called Melissa's Garden, the first sight that greets the diver is a small wobbegong shark, part of the carpet shark family, sleeping in a huge plate coral. The tassels around its mouth normally help it camouflage against a sandy bottom. The dorsal fin and tail of this bottom-dwelling shark have very little strength. A purple, white and orange Flabellina nudibranch crawls along the edge of a large coral bommy. On the final evening of the trip, another beautiful sunset decorates the sky. Next day, the boat makes its way over a calm sea to Sarong for the journey home.